Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Xa Talk Show. Today, we are going to talk randomish about programming languages. I'm going to tell you what I have been doing in the past month. It's been a long time. My last video is probably a month ago. Hello, Robin. Hello, Solo Blankets. So, programming languages. So, let's begin. So, I did a lot of work in the past month. So, writing my programming language tutorials, Emacs Lisp, WolframLang, PowerShell, JavaScript, golang, and also Perl Python. I forgot to add here. And lots of update, huge amount of update I've been working on past month. So I'm gonna tell you the programming language. The general elements of programming languages. Programming languages is not that hard to learn, in a sense. Okay, but if you really want to be an expert, you have to, spend a lot of time not following some these days. Anyway, so programming languages, they share, some general elements. So let's go to Emacs Lisp. So you can just type Xali. Practical Emacs Lisp, you will find my website. And so I did a lot reorganization of my webpage. So let me explain what's going on here first. So you have 6 major topics. You have Emacs tutorial. This is for you beginners or you've been using Emacs for a while. You can learn for beginners where to download. Emacs, some frequently asked questions, Emacs first day, Emacs key basics, these are Emacs tutorials. Then it gets through some advanced stuff such as kill ring. In Emacs you have a infinite, almost you have a copy history, so you can paste previous, So anyway, so this section, Emacs tutorial, practical Emacs tutorial. Okay, so you can learn Emacs, then this chapter is about Emacs init. So once you click that, you click here, it tells you what's the init file, where is the init file on Windows, on Mac, or on Linux, and then it tells you how to start Emacs without init file, what does it do, and how to modify it, how to load it, how to refresh, how to read init file without restarting Emacs, and all that. So everything you need to know about init file, about save command history, anything you may want to do in your init file. So this section, Emacs init. Okay, then this section is about Emacs keys. Now in Emacs, everything is about command and keys. So keys are critically important. So Emacs key overview, what's the general organization of Emacs keys, and Emacs key layout diagram. And then how do you define your own keys? Emacs is all about keys. So that is the Emacs key section. Then we have 4 sections about Emacs Lisp. So this is the main topic of today, proper topic, the programming languages, Emacs Lisp. Okay, am I going? Let me check video check, audio check. Okay. So Emacs Lisp, the language. So there are 4 sections: Lisp basics, practical Lisp, practical Emacs Lisp, and Emacs Lisp examples, and Emacs Lisp how to write a major mod. Now, the Lisp basics is all the basic language elements. So you have introduction, Emacs Lisp, how do you start to run it? How do you evaluate the Emacs Lisp code? How do you, the basic elements of a programming language, such as how do you print, arithmetics, how do you add, plus, minus, multiplication, arithmetics. Then you have convert integer to float, float to integer, or number to string, string to number, and so on. And then you have the Boolean type, which is true and false. Now in Emacs Lisp, you don't have Boolean type. You don't have dedicated Boolean type, but Every language has some form of Boolean, true and false. So these are the general elements of a programming language. Every language has it. You know, how do you do arithmetics? How do you convert int, float, string? Usually, you know, if the programming language has types, then you have true, false in every programming language. Then you have test equality. This is also critical, and this is quite different in every language, in Perl, Python, Ruby, JavaScript, Wolfram language, in Lisp. So here is how Emacs Lisp does equality, what they consider two things to be equal. You know, whether there's a type conversion, automatic, or things like that. So in the Emacs Lisp case, it's more complicated, a bit more complicated. So, you know, these are elements of programming languages. Then you have, how do you define variables? Then you have, in this case, special to Lisp, you have a block expression. This is like C programming languages, curly braces, okay? Block of expression. Then you have if, then, else. Then you have loop. Okay, I'm not going to go to every one of them. So you have loop, you have string functions, you have how to format string, and then you have how to define a function. This is basically the last lesson you have to learn when you learn a programming language, writing a function, because every programming language, that's what you do, write a function or subroutine. So these are the basic elements of Lisp. Then you have also data structures. List, in the Emacs Lisp case, you have list, vector, sequence type, and functions that operate on them. You have also association list, which is like a kind of like a hash table, but less hash table. Okay, basically it's just a list of key and value pairs. That's what association list is. That exists in Lisp, in Emacs Lisp, and in Common Lisp, Scheme Lisp, of course, in enclosure, and it also exists in Wolfram language. Okay, association list, a list of key value pairs, but it's a list. However, we also have hash table. So in Emacs Lisp, you also have hash table, which is also a key value pairs, but it's not a list. Usually it's unordered depending on the language. For example, in JavaScript, their hash table is called map, a map object, which is a collection of key value pairs. And in JavaScript, that map object is ordered. It keeps an order, okay? In the Emacs Lisp case, it doesn't keep order. Now, in Python, it's called dictionary. In Ruby, it's called hash table. In Perl, it's also called hash table. I have a tutorial for each and every one of these. Okay, so hash table, another fundamental data structure in just about every programming language today, except C. Okay, so any comments? Pay me, okay, donate, and buy my Emacs tutorial. You know, if you are familiar, buy my Emacs tutorial or JavaScript tutorial or my Emacs packages, okay? It's over for you, Mr. Lee. What are you talking about? Okay, so hash table, okay? Emacs Lisp, you have hash table. Then you have okay, so these are the basic elements of a language. Then you have functions. How do you define a function? Then you have more advanced things like throw and catch and exit function. And how do you document your function? Inline documentation of a function, very common in almost all modern languages. You can embed documentation into your function. And then you have more advanced, you know, specific to Lisp things, symbols. Now, symbol is one of the characteristics of Lisp languages. You have symbol. You don't have that in most other languages. You don't have that in C, C++, Java. You don't have that in Perl. You don't have that in Python, JavaScript. Well, in JavaScript you do have, but that's different. So anyway, symbol is one of the weird thing in Lisp. It's a good thing, okay? Symbolic language. That means when you do computation, that, when you do computation, you are computing with symbolic programming language, and that includes Wolfram language, which I'm going to talk about today. So how long have I been going? 10 minutes, okay? So these are, elements of a general elements, a programming language. So now I have organized, so there are more, okay? So this section, Lisp basics, they are all about the Emacs Lisp things, variables, functions, arithmetics, int, float, how Boolean types, if then else, how do you do that in Emacs Lisp? However, they don't cover things particular to Emacs Lisp, because as you know, Emacs, you have buffer. Emacs allows you to, you have buffer. You have the mini buffer, which, you have commands. You can meta x, and how do you write them? How do you prompt user for ask user some question? And how do you increase the font size? How do you color syntax color? How do you increase font size, syntax color? How do you, for example, I can do this, highlight this, HTML, and I can delete. How do you delete text in a buffer? Now these are unique. These things are unique to Emacs Lisp. Okay, these things doesn't exist in every other language, Perl, Java, Python. Because they are not editor, they are not interactive. So this section, practical Emacs Lisp, cover all these things. This is the most important thing when you want to learn Emacs Lisp. For example, I give you an overview. How does it work? Then writing a command. So you can, for example, let me show you. So, for example, so here is so let's switch to XAR Emacs Lisp mod. Okay, so here is a function define. Say yeah, and all it does is just insert yeah. So evaluate it, then meta x, y, enter. It inserts text into your buffer. You see, so you can do this. So this kind of features doesn't exist in other languages. So they are Emacs specific. So that's what this section is about. Cursor, text editing, interactive forms, get user input. You might ask user for a file name, ask user for a directory, ask user for a regular expression, ask user for a number, your age, and so on. Or ask user to pick a choice from a list, such as meta x. I meta x, so I type XAR, and it shows all functions, all commands that start with the word XAR. So this is a pick a choice among them. So not available in general purpose languages, but in Emacs. So that's what this section is about. Practical Emacs Lisp. Okay. Then because it's it's not, it's kind of a little bit unusual. So you have this section that's Emacs Lisp examples. Now in here you have maybe 20 or 30 actual Emacs examples. Writing a command. For example, let's pick a useful one. All of these are quite useful. For example, this code, define XAR title case region or line. Okay, I'm gonna show you. So change to title case. So once you define this function, so let me show you. Something is the title here. Okay, so you can copy that, paste it here. So I want to call this function I wrote, so I just press a key. You see, this is the proper way. So okay, let's do it in a new buffer so we don't have the coloring. Okay, so press a key. You see some of the words are capitalized. That's a title case. So this section, Emacs Lisp examples, shows you many useful commands to you can study. You can, for example, in this one is cycle hyphen low line space. So let me show you. So if you are a programmer, often it's a case you want to add a hyphen or low line between the words. So what I do is, for example, Press a key, you see, I don't have to add, I don't have to move the cursor, I just press a key. Press a key again, it all becomes low line or underscore. Press a key again, it becomes space again. It cycles. So very useful. So this is the power of learning a little bit Emacs Lisp. Okay. So cycle. So and all these remove accents. Sometimes you get this European language. So anyway, so that's this section. So let's shrink back. So that's this section, Emacs Lisp examples. Then now this is more advanced. How to write a major mod? In major mod you have programming language mods, you have Golang, you have Perl, Java, Python mods. How do you, for example, I'm using XA Emacs Lisp mod. So for example, I want to delete this insert statement. So I just move my cursor here, press a key, it deletes the whole parenthesized expression for me. I don't have to like delete one and and you can delete the whole function. So this is XA Emacs Lisp mod. So you can see. So let's press Ctrl+H+M, describe mod. So you can see here is the documentation for XA Emacs Lisp mod. Okay. And then it shows you the key bindings, the functions. For example, let me demo. Okay, so for example, I want to call a function insert. So I just type I space, it becomes insert. Space again, there you have it. Now, if I want to define a function, D space define space. I did Emacs Lisp coding a lot of times in my videos. Okay, so XA Emacs Lisp mod. So if I want to have a function, let's say I don't remember, so press tab. So I want to function start with I forgot the name. Press tab again, twice. I and S. So all these are functions in Emacs Lisp. So what? Yeah, all these are. What are these functions? What? Anyway, so if you like it, buy XA Emacs Lisp mod. Okay, it's on my website. You can just search for it and you'll find it. Okay, so these are the sections of Emacs Lisp. Lisp basics, practical Emacs Lisp examples, and how to write a major mod. How to write a major mod covers syntax, coloring, and the mechanism. How does it work? Font lock mod. How does it work? How do you program your own new programming language, for example? How do you define a face? A face, for example. Let me show you. List faces display. Okay, so you can see in here are the different. Emacs call them face, which is different styles for coloring. You can define your own. For example, if you are into Emacs themes, color themes. Okay. So all this section, how to write a major mod. Okay. So that's about Emacs Lisp. So let's go back and talk about some other languages. Okay. So close that, don't save. Close that, don't save. Show today's talk show. So Emacs Lisp, and each language has these elements, and they exist in all other languages. Now let me show you Wolfram language. So I also worked a lot on Wolfram language. Wolfram language is a Lisp. You can say that because it shares all the characteristics of Lisp. Purely nested expression, check. Symbolic. Every identifier in the language is a symbol, check. Lisp reader, that's more advanced, which is a built-in feature that allows the language to read expressions, to read and parse the expression of the language itself. Lisp reader, check. Wolfram language also has that. It's called just read, I think. Okay, symbolic, nested expressions, everything is nested. reader macro. Lisp macro is another fundamental characteristics of Lisp languages. Wolfram language has that. In fact, the whole Wolfram language is symbolic pattern matching. That's kind of more advanced macro. So then you have another characteristic is kind of functional programming. In Lisp, you just have parentheses. The head of parentheses is a function name. The rest is argument. Same thing in Wolfram language. I can show you. So Wolfram language expressions. So for example, symbols. This is explanation about symbols in Wolfram language. And principles, Wolfram language principles. Let me get to the interesting part. Syntax. Okay, so you can see here is a Wolfram language in in a syntax that's purely nested. You see, but in Lisp you have parentheses, then you put the function name, then arguments. In Wolfram language, you use the square brackets, and the function name goes outside of the square bracket. Then you have elements inside. So this is purely nested syntax, Wolfram language. But Wolfram language provides what's called meta expression, which is a shortcut. For example, this code here you see are identical to just these two lines. Identical, exactly. Because the way Wolfram language works is that whenever you type a syntactic shortcut, for example, something equals to something, that's not nested. But however, Wolfram language will automatically convert that to the full form. For example, you see this set h lines something something. You see here, h lines equals to something something. So the full form for that equal is actually the set something something function. So Wolfram language will convert your shortcut notations into this purely nested expression, just like Lisp. Before it does, then it compiles. Okay, so Wolfram language provides this in Lisp jargon. This is called meta expression. Okay, so symbolic and purely nested syntax check, and also functional programming. Okay, so here is my, I've been working on this Wolfram language tutorial a lot more in the past month. So now it's much better. And again, you can see many of the elements of programming language that occurs in just about every programming language. You have strings. So I tell you how in Wolfram language they quote their strings. Do they allow single quote? Do they have special here doc, for example, or here string, so-called here string, things like that. So Wolfram string, then you have, how do you list all functions in Wolfram language? This is specific to Wolfram language because in most languages you cannot. In most programming languages, there's no facility to let you list all built-in functions in the language. But in the case of Wolfram language, you can, and it's very useful. And in the case of Lisp in general, you can do that too. In the Emacs Lisp case, it's called op array. Op array contains all symbols in the language. But in most other languages, usually you can't. For example, Python, you do have a symbol table, but some of the syntax is not a function. It's just the syntax. Like C, if, while loop. C, those are crap. So anyway, so Wolfram language, then you have some ways to list all functions. But in other language, you also have some help facility. For example, Python. For example, let's see. Let's go to my PowerShell. Okay, let's go to my PowerShell. Okay, so let's see Python. Let's magnify. Okay, so I have Python installed. So Python, you have a help facility. I forgot what's the syntax. Oh, there it is, but not this. But anyway, it allows you to list all the functions of a module, things like that. So I have a Python tutorial somewhere. So let's go to am I doing good? Am I doing slow? Talk guys. So let's hold on a second. Let's video check, audio check, video check. Okay, so let's open all these. Okay, Golang. So let me talk about all these PowerShell. Okay, PowerShell and JavaScript. Okay, then Golang tutorial. Then we are going to demo this code. Pretty format PowerShell. Okay, in some automatic way. We are going to demo that today. So, but first of all, let's show the Python. Let's go to, so these are all my programming language tutorials. Go to Python, open Perl, open Ruby. Okay. Okay, so Python, for example, you can help building help. So what you do is PyDoc. Well, PyDoc. PyDoc while. PyDoc is not installed, I guess. I didn't install it. PyDoc 3, let's try that. PyDoc 3 while. God. Okay, it's not installed. It's not bundled. Shit. So anyway, so Python. Then actually, so if you start Python 2.7 exit. Control D, Control Z plus return. Stupid Python. Python, it's fun. Okay, that's another topic. It's different command line interface. In general, open source programming languages or Linux, you press Control D to exit, but in a Python case, it's Control Z. That's a bit different. So anyway, you go into Python. Let's say Python 3. What? Why am I Microsoft Store? No, I don't want Microsoft Store. What? Wait, I have Python 3 installed, but it's just not in my path. Okay, anyway, let's skip it. So Python, again, you have all these, quoting string methods, format string, operators, and you also have complex numbers, true and false, boolean, if then else, loop. So these are, and then data structures. These are fundamental elements of a programming language. Just about every language you have these. So you have a list, which is the data structure. Then you have ways to enumerate the list, to go through the list. Okay, you have different methods. You can also map. Then you have some esoteric technical tips about how to copy a nested list, and also the concept of shallow copy and deep copy. This depends on language, because many of these languages, these industrial languages, Perl, Python, Ruby, JavaScript, Java, and C and C++ probably. They at least they have a reference concept. So when you have a nested list, it's like the elements are references to a list. So you get to extreme complexity of how do you copy a list. Then you have the concept of shallow copy and deep copy. It's pretty confusing. This is one of the reasons you don't see much deep nested list in these industrial programming languages, is that because of these. Okay, because their list is actually a reference. In Java, for example, you don't actually have a data type of a list or any kind of hash table. Rather, you have the reference type. So that's technical detail. So list, then you have in Python you have dictionary, which is a hash table or a list of key value pairs. Data structures, tuple. Then how do you define a function? This is the ultimate thing you want to learn. When you reach this part, that means you are pretty much ready to code the programming language. Okay, I've been talking for 30 minutes now. Am I doing good? Now let's see some comments and let me refresh myself. Refreshment. How do you narrow into non-contiguous regions in Emacs? You cannot. Okay, that's a simple question. I mean the simple answer, you cannot. Crazy frog. Crazy frog. Ching ching. Thank you. Wow, you won a hackathon. Fantastic. Fantastic. Major multi. Fantastic. Congratulations. Okay, so we were talking about the general elements of a programming language. All these are, almost exist in every language. Variables, how to how to create or if you need to declare, and what are the types, true and false, boolean, operators, arithmetics, data structures, list, hash table. These two are the most common in every language, and how do you go through them, and also if then else, if then else, that's a conditional, that's called conditional or branching. Or then you also have the common element of loop. While loop, do loop, for loop, these are very common in every C derived language, such as most industrial programming language, Perl, Python, Java, JavaScript, Ruby, crap, this imperative, or even object oriented, these loops. Okay, and Perl, so that's what I have been working on. Same thing in Perl. So you have the same thing, same kind of thing I teach you. So check out my tutorial. Okay, if you like them, read them. Brian Nakamoto. Hey, are you the Brian I know? Shit, you are. I think. Oh my God. No, I didn't. I haven't. No, I haven't seen you messages. Is it on Twitter? I haven't been using Twitter for much. Oh my God, Brian. Oh God, I'm so happy to see you. So let me when we are offline, I'm gonna talk to you. Okay, so we should do a meetup again. Let's it's been a long time and long story. Oh my God, my personal life has been bad times. So anyway, so all the programming languages. Okay, so let's get back to talk about programming languages. Oh yeah, YouTube censored lots of languages. Let's see, top chat. Let's go to live chat. Let's see. Okay, so programming languages. So let's see what else. PowerShell, Python, Ruby. So let's go back to what. So we kind of covered that. The generic elements of every programming language. Okay, and Wolfram language, PowerShell, JavaScript, and also JavaScript. I have let's not talk about JavaScript. Because I already have it. JavaScript. So then there's Golang, one of my favorite language. This is the proper C and C++ replacement. Okay. School rust, those of you into memory, diddling fuck. So Golang is fantastic. It's a proper C replacement, C++ and C++. After 20 years, finally, it's extremely simple and easy to learn. And what's more, you have beautiful languages like Scheme or maybe Haskell. But the problem is nobody uses it. Okay, but Golang is different. Golang, some people will mention NIM or Crystal and others, but Golang, there's one major difference between Golang and the other cool languages. Okay, Golang is industrial. It's widely used. Okay, it's of course it came from Google, so it's one of the powerhouse, Golang, and very simple, and I like it. So again, you have the basic elements. You have string, you have string functions, you have how to convert to and from a string, and in the Golang case, you have special issue of byte, character, and encoding. These kind of issues, and integers. So then you have types in Golang, you have variables, you have zero value, which is the default initialization values for variables that you didn't assign a value. So anyway, Golang, okay. So I like Golang, one of the most simple and powerful and widely used programming language that will get you a job. Okay, if you learn Haskell, if you learn Lisp, if you learn hold on a second. You learn elegant language. If you learn Emacs Lisp, you'll not get a job nowhere. For each one of those languages, you have 10,000 Golang jobs. That's a power. And Java, of course, Java, and C and C++ and C Sharp. So okay, so that's it about the languages. Let's see. I've been talking for 40 minutes already. So let's go to let me maybe start to demo PowerShell. Okay, so I want to demonstrate this great thing, pretty format PowerShell. This I just discovered last week. So I wrote a script to do that. So you can automatically format your code now. For example, let's go to let me show you this thing. So auto format. So let me show you so two of the great languages of modern day, in the past 5 years, Golang and JavaScript, Deno, okay, they have the feature of automatically formatting your code, automatically built in with the compiler. So that means when you download the Deno JavaScript or when you download Golang, it's already there. You don't have to go out and download extra lint or whatever. So you can. So let me show you. Okay, so let's go to JavaScript. Okay, let's show you a demo of JavaScript, formatting JavaScript code using Deno. Okay, okay. So let's then after that, I'm gonna show you automatic formatting of Golang code with the built-in facility. Then I'm gonna show you the PowerShell. The PowerShell is not exactly built in. You have to download it, but it's part of the Microsoft PowerShell. Then you actually have to write a script to call that, because the input is a string, it's not a file. So you have to open the file, read the string, call the format, it returns a string, you have to put it back into the file. So that's why in PowerShell you have to write it. So let's demo JavaScript first. Okay, so I have kind of a big JavaScript file. So let's put it here, and let's use JavaScript mod in Emacs. Okay, so here you have a huge, you have 34,000 of Unicode characters data. So let's just remove them. So let's just, because we don't need those. Okay, so anyway, so here's the JavaScript code. This is TypeScript or JavaScript. This is actually TypeScript, but they are similar. Okay, so here's the JavaScript code of 250 lines. Okay, now let's screw up the format. Okay, so you see right now they are nicely formatted, but let's say we screw them up. Let's say. Can I do this? Yeah. Okay. So you see. So let's wait. Where do we do it? So for example, this box results. These are. Oh, this is a string. This is actually a. Okay. So let me do this quickly. Okay. So. So yeah, so let's screw up the format. Okay, let's just do it. You see, let's just do it. Okay, so let's look at the function f normal search. That's a function. Okay, now you see it becomes one long line, unreadable. Now save it, xx.ts. Okay, saved. Okay, now I want to, suppose I'm writing this code, so now I want to reformat the whole file. So all I have to do, you see these two functions, you see all I have to do is, because I'm in Emacs, I've done let me just show you. Okay, tab F, fantastic. You see this function, normal search, now become nicely formatted, and also this chars. Okay, undo. Okay, let's do it again. Now watch my wait, what? My command log mod is not working. Normally it should show. Let me fix that. Wait, my command log is broken, so normally it should show what I typed. Okay, never mind. Okay, so what are we doing? So yeah, so we want to reformat this, so I can show you Control HM. So this is Xa JavaScript mod, and you can see one of the command is Xa JavaScript format code, tab F. So I press tab F, so it reformat the whole file for you. And I've tested, if you have a file that's 50,000 lines, you'll do it quickly. You'll do it within 1 second. Fantastic. So you don't have to, like typical industrial programmers, they are like, oh, you need to align tab versus space. Fuck, that's no good. Okay, that's no good. That's you want a tool that format the whole thing one shot. So format it, and what else? So let me show you the actual command. So for now, let's compact this again. Okay, and okay, so save it. Now go to the file xx.ts. That's TypeScript. Now go to shell. Let's split the window. Go to shell. Now let's type deno. I forgot what is the, I think it's a demo fmt. Okay, then just the file name. I think that's it. There it is. Now let's open the file again. There you go. So okay, that's a demo of deno JavaScript. Deno is the greatest thing. Okay, deno. So I highly recommend deno. Do not use the npm. Do not use Node.js. Okay, that sucks. Deno is created by the same guy who created Node.js. But once he left Node.js, the Node.js fucked up. The Node.js has a bad leader. I don't think he's a good guy, but it fucked up in all sort of ways. Then you got the npm library thing. Every time you install a package, every package is just 5 lines, 10 lines. Every time you install one package, 1,000 comes in. So deno is fantastic. Okay, use deno. Okay, so that's a demo of the automatic formatting of deno. Then let's do golang. Let's not do golang. Let's demo the PowerShell, and that'll be it. So PowerShell, okay, so let's open the PowerShell script. Yes, I'm using Vorak keyboard. Let me introduce my keyboard, okay? So this is Kinesis Advantage keyboard you are looking at. Where is my Kinesis Advantage? And on top, this is Ultimate Hacking, okay? So you can see, there are 2 parts. I'm using it as a keyboard macro, so everything is one single key press. And you can find them. Just search for Xa Li keyboard. Okay, I have 900 articles on keyboards. So here's my keyboard guide. Then you go to Ergo keyboards. Then here is the keyboard I'm using, Kinesis Advantage 2 and Ultimate Hacking keyboard. Okay, you go buy them. Buy them from my website. Okay, let's demo PowerShell. PowerShell auto format. Okay, so I go to my document. So I have a PowerShell. So here is my PowerShell script. Let's delete the backup. Yes, and make a backup and open this file. Shrink the window. So you can see I have lots of functions, for myself. So let's see. Let's show one of them. Okay, so I have one function that's backup drives. So let's copy that, new buffer, paste it, save it, xx.ps1. Now PowerShell extension name is ps1. Okay, so let's work on this. Override what? Oh, I already have a ps1. Okay, so let's try again. What? xxx.ps1. Okay, so we are going to work on the code. So first of all, let's remove the indentation. So, okay, save it. Now, Control HM. So this is again my Emacs PowerShell mod. I wrote it myself. So one of the command is tab F. Tab F will do PowerShell. Wait, that doesn't work. Because recently I just wrote this script, and I have and I try to put it into Emacs so that I can run it in Emacs, but doesn't work yet. So I still need to work on. But let me show you this. Okay, so for example, so here is a PowerShell function, and we removed some of the indentation. Let's remove more indentation. Okay, save it. Now go to diet, go to shell, close that, go to shell. Then all I have to do, well, actually, let's do it here. Okay, so actually, all I have to do, open the PowerShell window. All I have to do is xar format PowerShell script xxx.ps1. Okay, so that's that file. Do it. Fantastic. And it says backup created. It created the backup. So refresh. You can see here's the backup. Here's the original. Open that. Expand the window. You see, now it's all indented. Okay, so that's the demo of that. Okay, anything else? I think that's it for today. So do you think the narrowing would be possible with zone.el? I don't know what that package is. Okay, I think that's it for today. Bye, guys. I'm gonna shut down in 1 minute. Okay, we don't need this anymore. Refresh. Close, 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 close. This is a TypeScript. Delete. Okay, close. And this is TypeScript. Close. Unicode. Xan Talk Show. Today's talk show. When using sparse tree, how do you hide unmatched headings? What are you talking about? Are you talking about Emacs org mod or what? What's sparse tree? But that's it.